So let's take a look at the data, which you can see we've isolated for each of the three regions, where we focus on the three greatest areas of improvement. So let's start with channel fundamentals. And there are two very clear messages here. Organisations in all regions value a shared understanding of why they choose to go to market through indirect channels. And the CAM's ability to credibly articulate is ranked by all regions as an area most important of need, or most in need of improvement due to its high level of importance. Almost every vendor, without exception, rated this a 5 out of 5. So what we're saying here is that all vendors have agreed that it's absolutely critical that a CAM is credible in describing how indirect channels fit into the overall route to market strategy, what role they play, where they play, how many they are, how it fits into the direct coverage model and other routes to market. Because if they can't credibly articulate that, I mean, as they're being the frontline soldier, then it's very unlikely that others in the company will be able to. Also, the data showed us a strong need to improve channel execution in some channel core areas, especially due to things like lack of consistent and effective channel tools and processes. All regions, so the Americas and across all other regions, indicate a very strong need to improve partner selection. There are too many inappropriate partners that are being targeted to sell the wrong products. Determine how many partners are needed in a territory, so capacity planning came through as a very core area that wasn't being performed well enough. A fast start program for new partners and a process for continual enablement of existing partners came through as a very compelling and strong need. The ability to implement strategies to deal with channel conflict came through as a very much a fundamental core skill. And finally, how partners, programs, incentives, training, compensation should be linked back to the enablement, the business fit and the relationship gaps. What was surprising across this whole area of channel core fundamentals was the remarkable consistency between all three regions. All three regions' data was almost identical, whether it be a developing market, so particularly in some of the APJ markets, or it be a mature market like in North America or Western Europe. All regions agree on a strong need to improve the ability of channel salespeople to understand partner business drivers and financials. And this includes modelling partner profitability and presenting a business case for multiple partner types, which includes VARs, SIs, services partners, distributors, DMRs. To achieve this, there needs to be an understanding how these different partner types measure their success. How do these partners make investment decisions in the face of competing vendor alternatives? So not just competitive alternatives, but any alternative that is really accessing their available working capital. Understanding how their company programs and behaviours impact partner profitability. There's a need to improve the ability of channel salespeople to use key financial models and concepts. So return on invested capital, ROIC, came through very strongly as a need, return on invested assets, understanding things like how working capital is used and calculated and working capital turns was also indicated as being very important in the research. The vendor executives that we interviewed want channel salespeople to understand the common problems that partners face and how the changes in revenue and growth margin mix affect these. So in other words, what they want them to be able to do is to try and empathise with the partner and put themselves inside of the partner's shoes. The ability to set an action plan with the partner around growth, business model, gross margins, cost structure, and as I said earlier on, working capital turns is considered very important for a channel manager to be able to perform effectively. Vendors must continue to focus on developing the basic channel sales skills as well. Channel salespeople need to get close to partners and establish relationships built on mutual understanding and trust. It's been said on this webinar, it's been said on many other webinars and training events and calls that we've all been part of, that any partnership, regardless of it personal or private or business, Whereas, the fundamental concept of mutual trust and understanding underpins that, and that's no different in the way that your channel managers should be and are managing your channel partners. All regions agree on a strong need to improve channel sales understanding of the partner. So this includes preparing for meetings with either a change or an investment objective, investigating and questioning to understand business priorities, understanding on how to influence partners towards win-win results. So they need to understand what's important to the partner to be able to drive that. Some variation, though, did emerge between the regions on their perceived highest need for improvement in this category. Both EMEA and the Asia-Pacific region both identify improvement in the ability of channel salespeople to identify behaviours that build and destroy trust as being very important, whereas in the Americas data, the improvements in the ability of channel salespeople to articulate key partner business drivers and identify key partner decision makers came through very strongly. So what came through very strongly in the American data was understanding the concept of how power and motivation occurs inside of your channel partners. Because once you understand need, motivation and power inside a channel partner, you're then in a position to be able to start to develop a influencing strategy. Both the Americas and APJ also identify improvement in questioning and listening skills in the top 3 areas for improvement in this particular category. A strong need to improve partnership planning, so this is one-to-one partnership planning, but may also be for one-to-many, which could be territory-based planning, emerged as one of the highest areas among all categories and in all regions. All regions identified a strong need for improvement in the ability of channel salespeople to drive joint planning activities, which included things like creating an overall strategy for the development of a partnership, identifying partnership growth strategies with the partner, evaluating partner competencies, their business fit and business model, and the relationships. So going back to understanding the stakeholders, the motivation, the power, etc. of those various stakeholders, and creating joint revenue objectives. So objectives that are both jointly created and thus jointly owned. There were some minor regional differences here, emerging in the top 3 areas for improvement. The Americas were much more focused on action and resource planning, which is very symptomatic, I think, of the American culture. It's one of the things that makes the American culture so successful. In EMEA and APJ, they're more focused on partnership rules of engagement. So that's more about how are we going to work together more effectively, particularly when we have multiple stakeholders involved from both parties involved in that channel relationship.